at the same time though, and I just speaking on that, you're talking about the Tulsa Fund and Jay Morrison, and I know Jay and Julian pretty well. I've worked with both of them. I did a lot of business with Julian. I didn't do a lot of business with Jay, but I know them both. And what I did say too was I said, I lost money, you lost money. There are things that we probably could have noticed in the beginning that we didn't notice in the beginning. So one of the lessons from the Tulsa Fund, you can look it up, it got real messy, is that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And never invest more money than you're prepared to lose. And also, if you don't prepare in advance and look into what you're getting into, and I made that mistake. I was just sort of like, yeah, yeah, let's support this black business, and I put money in and everything just because I wasn't really thinking much about it. I make a lot of investments. I make hundreds of them, so I was like, yeah, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But not everybody's in that same position. I get that, right? So I kind of just said, well, the hard part is that it's really hard to sort of reverse time and go back and redo the things that could have been done before. And because you have a moral hazard problem. Remember, moral hazard is where one person has the power because you gave them the money. They're now, possession is nine-tenths of the law. They control the asset. So you are gonna have to fight harder to get back control of something that you controlled in the very beginning. You had control in the beginning. You could have put conditions out at the beginning instead of going back and saying, "Hey, I want to go back and have a redo." It's hard to do that, right? Just contractually. The other thing too is I think that the mistake that was made as well was like there were people in the community that made a really big deal out of it in the sense that it's like they didn't understand that these things happen all the time in the business world. You have companies that go bankrupt all the time. Sometimes you have fraud, you have collapses, you have crashes, and part of investing is having the resilience to continue to move forward, right? In the broader community, you had Enron, which was a multi-billion-dollar collapse of a company that just happened overnight. You had the mortgage crisis of 2008. You had WeWork. Adam Newman of WeWork. He got $47 billion to start WeWork, and that company's value dropped by 98% or something, right? So many people got wiped out from WeWork, and but they kept going. Mayoshi Son, who was one of the big investors in WeWork, who lost $15 billion, he just picked up the pieces and kept moving. And he's well ahead. He's doing well now. And that's the thing. So when you invest, you want to invest not just with a mentality of resilience, but from a position where resilience is doable for you. It's very hard for me to be resilient if I find one investment and I get so enamored that I put my life savings into it. Never do that. I would never do that. If you do that, then yeah, you could get wiped out and be done, and you're out of the game forever. I put 5% here, 5% there, 5% there. No one 5% is going to destroy me. Number two, mindset of resilience means you just understand that when you are an investor, you're going to get punched in the face. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you got hit in the head with a baseball bat. And I don't even care if you're Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has had scenarios where he's lost billions of dollars from a bad investment. Even the greatest guru in all of investing history makes these mistakes. Accept that. Just write that into the contract that you're making with yourself as you move forward as an investor. You're gonna have some losses, but then your gains long term should exceed your losses. So that's something I didn't really talk much about the Tulsa thing publicly just because the energy just got really weird and crazy and stuff. And I didn't want to spend time explaining to people like, no, this is not my company. This is a guy I know, but he's not. This is what he's doing, right? Um, but at the same time, though, it's like it was a great learning opportunity if you saw it that way. And I would just say, hey, it's not the last time you should invest. But what I will say is that I'm not a big fan of some of the private equity investments that have come my way in my community or any other community because mainly because of the liquidity issue